and welcome back to Cloveriness. My name is Michelle and I'm here today to do the Reader Problems tag. I will leave a link down below to the original creator of this tag. I wasn't formally tagged by anyone, but I decided to jump in anyway. Let's get started. Question number 1. You have 20,000 books on your TBR. How in the world do you decide what to read next? For this question, I'm gonna say, actually, I don't have anywhere close to 20,000 books at all. I'm actually very, very conscious of the number of books on my TBR. As for how I go about picking what I'm gonna read next, a lot of it is very own mood reading. There are times when all I want to do is read romance novels, or like as many as I can, and I will just go through all of my unread shelves or my Kindle, and I'll pick out like everything that ties in with that, and I'll read it all at once, and then, you know, it'll reach a certain point and I think, actually, no, enough is enough, and I'll switch to another genre like fantasy or whatever. Question number 2. You're halfway through a book and you're not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed? Quit! Quit! Honestly, life is too short to stay committed to some boring book that you're getting no enjoyment from. Question number 3. The end of the year is coming and you're so close in your Goodreads reading challenge. Do you try to catch up, and how? I am definitely one of those people who will go along and choose like the slimmest books possible on my shelf to just find something really quickly to read, and I do enjoy these shorter books, but if I'm on sort of a tight deadline and I need to reach a certain number, I will choose any book between like under 250 pages. I'll choose a middle grade book. I'll choose a great one for me is a lot of Barrington Stoke books, which are incredible like stories by fabulous authors, but they're quite short. Question number 4. The covers of a series you love do not match. How do you cope? I'm not a big collector of books, so I don't actually care if books in a series or by an author don't match. I don't care in the slightest. Question number 5. Everyone and their mother loves a book or series that you really don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? Who do I bond with over shared feelings? Twitter, sometimes, BookTube. I've always found that somebody I know has the same feelings about a certain book, and you know, we might be small in number, but whatever. But yeah, usually on Twitter, I guess it would be my biggest place to bond. Question number 6. You're reading a book and you're about to start crying in public. How do you deal? You know what, I'm just gonna go for it. I've cried loads in public, and trains especially, trains, buses. I was on a bench once in the middle of London just blubbing like a baby. Just if I'm that like invested in a story that I'm crying over it, then I don't care that much if other people see it. And you know, it's happened quite a lot that I'll be reading a book, waiting for the school bell to ring and my boys to come out from school, crying away. And other mothers in the school playground will come up and say, "Are you alright?" And it sort of starts a great conversation about books. So question number 7. A sequel of a book you loved has just come out, but you've forgotten a lot from the previous novel. Will you reread the book? The sequel? Try to find a synopsis on Goodreads? Cry in frustration? For this, I really like websites like Recaptain, which do really great spoilery recaps of books and series, but to be honest, I will just try to to be honest, if a book like that comes into my house, and I'm really excited to read it, so what usually happens is that it will remain on my shelf for a long time because I have these intentions to reread a book or at least look it up on Recaptains, and it doesn't happen straight away. And Once it gets to a certain point, I will either abandon the series altogether, or I will just sort of barrel through and start reading the first few chapters, and just hope that the author has done a good enough job of recapping it within the first few chapters in sort of a natural, seamless way. And, you know, hopefully things will just start coming back to me eventually. And, you know, if they don't, then obviously that's a book and a series that I abandon. Question number 8. You don't want anyone borrowing your book. How do you politely tell people that when they ask? I don't get a lot of people asking to borrow my books. I don't know, it feels a little bit too much like Confrontation to say something like, please be nice to my books. But, you know, most people who know me know that I love books anyway. So it probably wouldn't be too bad to just say, you know, I love books, I love this book, please look after it, as I'm handing the book over. Question number 9, reading ADD. You've picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? Reading slumps, oh God, there is a subject that I know a great deal about. Usually what I do at the first stage of a reading slump is sort of look over the books that I've been choosing and, you know, try to come up with like anything to tie them all together. Like if I'm reading all review books, then maybe I'm just burnt out on the pressure that review books come with, and maybe I'll try to look for a book that I was really excited to read that I bought myself. Or if I've been reading a lot of ebooks, like ebook after ebook, then maybe I'll try to mix things up with, you know, a paperback or something. So changing the format of the book, changing the type of book, changing the genre that I'm reading sometimes helps, and if that doesn't work, then I'll probably go back to a comfort read, an old favorite that I go back to in times of reading slump to sort of cheer myself up. And if that doesn't work, then sometimes I'll watch like a TV or film adaptation of a book that I really love. I think Pride and Prejudice is a good one. There's quite a few different adaptations around. I also really like the North and South adaptation starring Richard Armitage. That's quite a good one that I go to. Question number 10. There are 10,000 books coming out soon and you want to buy them all. How many do you actually buy? Last year, I think it was, I went through a 6-month buying ban, and it was the best thing that I've ever done. And that means that when it comes to buying books now, I'm a lot better at controlling my impulses. If there are 10,000 books that I want to buy, then I'll probably pick 1 or 2, and I'll probably sit on that decision for a couple of weeks. And if that sort of desperate desire goes away over 2 weeks, then I won't buy it. And if it's still there, and if I'm thinking about buying that book every day during those 2 weeks, then by that 2 weeks, then I probably will buy it. Question number 11 is, after you've bought the new books you can't wait to get to, how long do they sit on your shelf before you get them? I'm so bad at buying books and not reading them. I am really bad. I do try, I try my very best to read a book that I've bought myself within sort of 6 months to a year, and if I don't read them in that time, by the end of the year I probably will give it away. So that's it. Those are my answers to the reader problems tag. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not going to tag anyone specifically, but if you're watching this now and you really want to take part, do just consider this me tagging you. See you next time.